when I initiated the evacuations of the Senate and the House, it wasn't just for the members of Congress. I wanted to help the demonstrators that were in the building, because if I didn't initiate those evacuations when I did, if a demonstrator would have bumped into a member of Congress, they would have also probably had the terrorism enhancement added to their charge of trespassing. And when I was trying to get permission and help to do that, Yogananda Pittman ghosted me. So I go over the radio and I say, request permission. I'm requesting permission to evacuate the Senate. I have a clear directional sight from the Senate lobby or to the Senate chambers to the Senate door to get them out of the building. I need permission to initiate that. So I'm waiting. No answer from Yogananda Pittman on any of the requests. Even though I know I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to go ahead and initiate this evacuation anyway. So we ended up changing the route after I found out that the East Front was as compromised as it was when I was told by the Sergeant at Arms personnel. And then we started sending them down to the subway. When I called for the evac, she was in the command center. She heard the call. When she heard me sending them out the Senate door, she knew the East Front was as compromised as it was, but she still didn't say, TK, don't send them out that way because there are thousands of people on that side too. So by the grace of God, we got everybody out without getting hurt. It was approximately 2:28 when I evacuated the Senate. It was about 2:36 when I started the House. If she would have evacuated or called for the evacuation of the House when I did the Senate, Ashley Babbitt would have met an empty chamber when she walked in there, and she would have never been shot.
But you were never asked to testify in front of the January 6th Commission. Is that accurate?
I was never asked to even interview.
Why do you think that is?
Because they knew what I was going to say. Your perception should change when you're presented with new facts. And new facts arose that showed that it was not an insurrection, that basically this was a coup set up and staged and led by Yogananda Pittman so she could be the chief of the Capitol Police and she could gain favor from Nancy Pelosi. That's what this was.
Elaborate on that a little bit more.
With no problem, sir. I can do that with ease. Yogananda Pittman, her position, she was an assistant chief of the Capitol Police. She was the number 2 person in charge of the department, but she was the number 1 person in charge of the intelligence section, IICD, at the Capitol. That's our intel section. The people that she was in charge of put together an intelligence report. That report is entitled 21 TD 159. They gave her the report basically laying out what was going to occur on January 6th. She got that report in the middle of December and she didn't give it to Chief Son. Now, she knew Chief Son was running around even days before January 6th trying to get National Guard support on Capitol Hill on the 6th. So he would have had to go to Paul Irving, who is at that time was the House Sergeant at Arms, and he would have had to go to Michael Stinger, who was the Senate Sergeant at Arms, to get permission to even request the National Guard to be on Capitol Hill. You can throw out Trump because people keep saying Trump should have. It wasn't Trump's call. It was Paul Irving and Michael Stinger. They have to give Son permission to request the National Guard. They both told him that the intelligence didn't support the National Guard being on the Hill on that day because Son didn't have it. Had he had that vital information that he needed, report 21 TD 159, he would have been able to present this, and it would have been a game changer for him because he could have had the intelligence report that he needed to articulate why he needed the National Guard on site on that day. Pittman had it, and she didn't send it.
CNN or the Washington Post right there, New York Times, have they reached out to you?
So I spoke to one of those outlets, and I said, listen, I got proof that Yogananda Pittman was the person who caused January 6th. I got radio transmissions. I got documentations of what she did. I got documentation of Manger with the cover-up. I can prove it all. You don't have to believe me. The person said, listen, I can't help you. I don't know who can help you. I'm discontinuing this call. Goodbye. And click. And I'm like, you're supposed to be neutral. Because right now, if you look at the J6 final report, Yogananda Pittman basically saved democracy.